Hey all, Cole Caparoon here. Thank you so much for stopping by for another video. Today in this video, we are going to take a look at a talk that me and Joe Carrell did at the Audioscape booth at NAMM, where we talk about compressor choices and compressor settings for just about every instrument. And there's some funny ones in there too. We also take a couple long detours because we just had fun talking, and we talked about a whole bunch of other stuff as well. The audio quality is slightly subpar because it was at NAMM, so it was a bit noisy, but I've done the best that I could. Joe is one of my absolute favorite people here in Nashville. He was one of the first real serious dudes that I met here in Nashville when I first moved here 10 years ago. And one of the things that I really appreciate about Joe is from the moment I met him, he treated me like a peer or like an equal. And I just think that that is really respectable, and I appreciate him very much for that. And we have grown into actual friends. And so it was an honor to sit down with him for a long talk and compare compressor settings and compressor choices on different instruments. So I hope you enjoy this one. We talk about a lot of different compressors, so I'll put links in the description down below for every compressor that we discussed during this talk. I will also put a link down below to Joe's YouTube channel, so be sure to go check out his awesome content and subscribe. Let's get into it.
Is that what it was? Does anybody know? Does anybody even care? Or is there just not enough room to see Sylvia? Go-to compression settings. Okay. On a variety of boxes. Okay.
What's your compressor settings for flute?
For flute? You know what? I do have in my template. We do a lot of orchestra work at our studio. Sometimes it's rhythms. It's vocals and rhythm section are the primary thing. It's just padding in the background, but a lot of work that has been traditionally located in LA or especially in New York came to Nashville for a variety of reasons, and I don't want to get into politics at all. Zero politics.
Come on.
But you know, the union in New York has made it difficult for companies to cut their orchestra there. Like if it's a Broadway show or something, you know, it's like they're going to keep coming back and see how many tickets we've sold, how many cities we do. They just keep wanting more money, so it's coming to Nashville because it's, you know, the right to work thing. Again, not being political. All that to say, we do, you know, Broadway shows and things like that. So believe it or not, we do quite a bit of flute. And you know what I like? I like the SSL, like a 2-to-1, but never tracking through it, only mixing through it. 2-to-1 to where, you know, because flutes, there's certain notes just really project.
Absolutely.
And I know this was a joke, but I'm going to answer it.
I mean, I'm super pumped that you have an answer for this.
I have an answer. So like 2-to-1, because you still want it to sound really natural. It's not supposed to sound compressed at all.
Right.
But nonetheless, you know, sometimes it needs a little squeeze if it's really rangy. So like an SSL 2-to-1 that's very inaudible, man, it works.
Okay.
It works.
Should we go like drum bus to master to mix bus, like just through everything?
Absolutely.
What you want to start with?
Did you want to start with flute?
I mean, look, I'm not convinced I've ever mixed a flute.
There you go.
I've done a lot of orchestral stuff, but
it's coming for you.
A certain kind of flute might be, but
yeah, the Grim Reaper flute.
Drum bus.
Drum bus.
What's your jam on drum bus? Are you a compression guy on drum bus?
Oh, absolutely.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely. In software form, if I'm mixing completely in the box, I really love the Shadow Hills mastering compressor. The VCA section.
It's got some sauce.
It's a great sounding box, and of course the real boxes. But I use the Class A version, so that it's not the tube sound. The Plug-in Alliance makes it, and it's 30 on the attack, or 10 on some songs. It's like you need just a little more control.
That's only got 10 or 30, right? There's no 20.
No,
is there a 20?
Yeah, or no, 50. And then it goes to 1 millisecond. I can't remember all the settings.
We really actually do know what we're talking about.
I only use 2 settings on it: 30 or 10 on the attack, fastest release possible.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like an SSL style compressor.
Yep.
And in a hardware form, I think I see one right here out of their product line. Is it just the decomp?
Decomp.
Yeah, it's kind of behind me in my rack, so I don't actually see it.
What do you like about the decomp?
Decomp.
Why is that the choice?
Dude, it sounds so freaking good on drums. It's like that's what it was created for. It's like you look at Michael Jordan, it's like you know, that guy was made to dominate a basketball court. That's, to me, that's like, that was created for one purpose, dominate a drum bus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about you?
I use the AS78 or the 260 VU.
Yeah.
And I choose them based on if I want something like real fast and snappy, like real sharp transients, and then the more explosive-y thing, then it's 260 VU. If I want something more round and organic and rock sounding, then it's the AS78.
Yeah.
And it's like medium slow attack, fastest release on that, 4-to-1.
Yep. That's a great set.
Sometimes blend.
Yeah. I like the 1178 on, well, I mean, on drum bus it slays for sure.
Absolutely.
I like it on drum rooms, of course. And the 160 or the 260.
Yep.
I like it on kick and snare top and bottom. So usually, like in our tracking room, we have 2 channels. So it's snare top and bottom.
Yes.
So both of them are doing the exact thing. But you know, I mean, a lot of these boxes they work so well on so many different things.
They do.
So you just kind of got to settle. You know what I mean? Fine. It's like, this is where I'm going to keep it, and quit second guessing.
Yep.
You know, swapping them from insert to insert to insert all the time.
Yep.
Come up with a system. Yeah, for sure.
I track a lot with Lester Estelle. I'm not sure if you've worked with him before. Kelly Clarkson's drummer.
I don't think so.
He plays on just about everything for me. He's got a 260 VU that is dedicated to kick and snare. He just kissing the kick and kissing the snare while we're tracking.
Yeah.
Couple dB, just bumping the needle.
They're magical for that.
Yeah.
They are. And
It's so good.
You know, I mean, even like on the used market, you can find, like, you see the old 160, like X and XTs,
Yep.
and sometimes they're pretty cheap. But the thing about the 260 is, you know, the circuitry itself has an impact, a sonic sound that the old DBX units were like sonically vanilla, but they did the attack and release thing.
They did the explosive thing.
Right. That does the attack and release thing, but also has a sound. So anytime I can use anything that's, you know, the old original VU or like the Audioscape recreation of it, which is, by the way, spot on. I mean, absolutely
So
spot on. Because I've got a vintage one in my mix room and two vintage in the tracking room. It's exact.
That's awesome.
Exact. But anyway, if I can get the VU meter version, I like that sound a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Bass guitar.
Ooh, bass guitar. Okay, in their product line, not just in their product line, it's what I have in my studio, the 2A on tracking day. On tracking day, every bass player in the world, you know, I say, and that's an exaggeration. I've not worked with every bass player in the world.
Just most of them.
a lot of the Nashville guys, at least, and they all love the LA 2A. It just feels right to them. Doesn't matter. It's like, well, what about the tempo? What about the groove? Doesn't matter. It just feels right to them, and let them play through it. It feels right. Plus, we get that first step of going through tubes, dynamic control, all the good stuff. And then on the mix, man, I gotta say, out of their product line, the one that I use the most, and when I'm using hardware during a mix, it's always basically a Revision F.
Oh,
the 1176.
Yeah.
With the silver one with the black stripe.
Yep.
That's what I have in my rack, in my mix room at home. And if I go outboard, it's always that.
What do you attack and release and ratio?
Release, basically 10 and 2.
Okay.
And 4.
Yep.
Yeah, 4-to-1, 10 and 2 is always my start. Sometimes I'll the release, you know, which is for you guys would be on this side right here. I'll actually speed it up.
Medium fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'll ever do attack and release wise is speed them up. Yeah, I'm 10 and 2. I may take both knobs and do that.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, it's never going to be. I mean, 10 and 2 on a 1176 just almost works on every bass guitar you have, unless you just need a little more, a little faster release. Yep. Just for the groove.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of bringing it forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm obsessed with this ASA 6A.
Yes.
Bass guitar,
and
just ripping the input, getting that grindy thing going, 5-6 dB of compression, and it's just like, oh, there it is, it's done.
You know, I got
a big box for bass guitar.
Yes, there's a lot of money invested into that chain, but the bass is an important thing. You know, I got to confess, I do have a 6A as well. but I have never used it on bass guitar.
Oh man,
I guess I need to,
especially if you want like the dirtier side of a bass guitar,
Yeah.
which most of the stuff I do, I end up there.
Do you use the drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Drive and crank the input, and
Okay.
it rips.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
try that.
And I'm usually like, depends on the bass guitar. I want to control the clackiness. If there's any of that, I want to kind of tame that. And then I'm like fast release on just about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the thing, I don't. How many of you guys have ever actually got to try a real RCA 6A? There's not many of them out there. You don't see them very often outside of individuals, studios, or whatever. But I will say, and you probably know this, and I know Chris knows this because he cloned the original. Theirs is actually way more versatile than the original.
Yes,
the original was
completely.
a one-trick pony, kind of like the gate stay level. Really, the gate stay level, I mean, I've got one. It kind of does this one thing, and either you want that or you just don't even use the box, regardless of the sound of the circuit. Sounds amazing, as we all know. But the V-Comp, even though I've got a gate stay level in my rack, I haven't used it in probably, I bet it's been 3 years since it's been powered on, but it hasn't been.
Just burning those tubes for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in video shoots, you have to turn it on, you know.
All the lights gotta be
honestly,
lit up.
I promise, I have not powered mine on and passed audio through it. I'm going to say about 3 years.
Wow.
But I've used theirs plenty.
This
You
is
know.
a side note.
Okay.
Do you have a rule for when you sell gear?
When I sell gear,
Are you one of the never sell anything?
dude, I am such a gear hoarder. I really am. I have turned loose of some pieces, and I know I'm going to regret it.
Yep.
Even little things like cassette decks, like rack mount, like good cassette decks, and things like that. You see now cassettes are starting to come back. And like, my gosh, I finally, after letting it set for 8 years, sold it, and now cassettes are going to come back. And I had a
vintage
great
tape.
Yeah, exactly. So I try not to sell much gear. I don't know. I've got too much,
Yeah.
but it's not enough.
I
mean, who
always?
Come
Yeah.
on, like raise your hand.
Who
Like,
sells gear when you're not using it?
You know, we're all gear. I guess we can say that word, gear sluts. I mean, you know, it kind of
This
comes.
is a gear safe space.
Yeah, exactly. It comes with the territory. Like you can never you tell yourself, right, once I get that microphone or that compressor or this console, that plug-in, you know, it's like, oh, I really want the SSL bundle or the whoever bundle. Like I can slow down. It doesn't happen.
I told my wife that 14 years ago. I told her that once I got my TubeTech LCA 2B,
Yeah.
I would never need to buy another compressor.
I promise, honey.
I promise. And I'm not sure how many of you have seen pictures of my studio recently.
Yeah.
And she brings it up pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah. A new compressor shows up and she's like, I thought that was going to be the last. It's been 14 years.
Yeah.
You still don't have the last one?
You know the thing, I love software and plugins, and I have relationships with a lot of those manufacturers, and I use it all the time. There's mixes for me that have to be done completely in the box for turnaround time and recalls and things like that. But when it comes to hardware, it's just still the most fun thing in the world.
100%.
I'm even personally, I'm completely over is analog better? You know,
Same.
I'm completely over that debate. That's just me. I know a lot of people still love that debate, and they'll get online and they want to argue with somebody about their plugins or their hardware, and I'm over it. And the reason I'm over it is because I don't care anymore.
Well, there's too many examples of incredible work all in the box and
vice
incredible
versa.
work in all analog.
Yeah, and hybrid.
Yep.
But what I do know for me is that I got into this craft and this industry purely out of passion. It's like you
100%.
can't, I was that kid that couldn't think of anything else. You're in the back of the class, like, like, Joe, like, do you have an answer for that question? No, I do not. I've not been paying attention to anything you said because I'm already at home playing drums, in my mind or whatever. So it's all pure passion. So recently, I don't know if you know this or not, but I didn't buy it. It's on loan, but I got a Harrison 32C console on loan just for some content because it's like, guys, I want to film some analog video content.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, of course. So like, it's right here in Nashville in storage anyway. So anyway, all that to say, because I'm old enough, you can see how much gray whiskers I have. That's the way I came up. And
I'm catching up to you.
Yeah, exactly. So getting back on analog, where everything's analog. We have all this shiny stuff this what's the word I'm looking for? Reinvented this spark inside of me of like, this is just fun. It's not about dollars right now. It's not about I need to have this done by noon. It's nothing about anything but fun.
And I find and you may find, I'm sure you agree with this, on the video side, on the studio side, oftentimes, like every so often, I'm like, I need to do this for me.
Right? Yeah.
It's not about the turnaround time or the money or I need to make sure that I'm inspired and having fun doing this.
Yeah.
Because you've been at this, 30 years?
Professionally, full-time, 26, 27.
Okay.
Not including the part-time year. So a long time.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
I'm old.
Including the part-time. Including the part-time, I'm in my 22nd year. And when you've done it for decades, sometimes you got to do stuff to just keep the spark alive.
Yeah.
And I find that when I turn all the gear on and I flip the switch and it goes,
yes,
and then I'm like, let's make some music.
I got to tell you, and again, I think it's because of the era I came from. So I don't know, like, if you guys are the same way, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this. But even on days when I'm going to do an all-in-the-box mix, it's like, hey, this has to be slammed out. Whatever reason, has to be recall or whatever. I still need to be doing it in a room surrounded by this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I still need that. It inspires me.
It's like the trigger. You walk into the room and it's not a desk and a laptop, and it's like, we're here to do work and make music.
Yeah, like I want to. Like I'm the biggest Michael Jordan fan in the world. Like because of my age, like he was dominated through my whole life, basically. So it's like I want that. Like I walk in the studio and I hear dun 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 dun. The Bulls. It's like I'm ready. As long as I see all the gear in there. If I just see a laptop, there ain't no dun 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 dun. There ain't no banners hanging from the ceiling.
And I think it's completely valid to draw inspiration from your tools. It's completely valid to grab a microphone that maybe you saved a long time for. And when you put that microphone up on the stand, it's like, there's a vibe to that that you just don't get with something that is not as special.
And it never leaves, depending on whether we've been doing this for 1 year or 30 years.
Right.
It's like every piece, that you get it's that same warm, fuzzy feeling, and you cross that line that you had set for yourself, that goal of what your studio was going to look like or what it was going to have. Every piece you cross off the list, that satisfaction.
Yes.
I still have that, man.
Same.
I'm still hungry for the next thing.
Okay. Compressor settings.
Yeah, well, I got sidetracked, didn't I?
No, we both did.
What instrument?
Let's talk compression on electric guitars.
Ooh, okay.
Because I feel like that's a little bit of a lot of people, I think, don't compress electric guitars, but then there's a lot of people that's like the sauce. That's the secret. What's your go-to on electric guitars?
I have two.
Okay.
And this is software or hardware. Yep. It's going to be the same either way. I have the 1176 and the 3A.
Yep.
The 3A is, it's optical, so it's doing a fixed thing.
Yep.
There's no adjusting it. It does what it does. But, the 3A is a tighter sounding, it's mid-forward.
Yes.
It doesn't have that bottom end bloom that the 2A does.
Yep.
Let alone the speed differences, because they're very different.
Yeah.
But the 3A just makes an electric guitar work to me.
I agree.
And an 1176 kind of does the same thing, because they're kind of a mid-forward, like push that thing here, but also contain the dynamics. If I have either one of those two, or both, and I do, because I've got the 3. Am I pointing at a 3A? I hope I am. Bam! Well, how lucky was that? Which is, honestly, I'm not, I know this is not supposed to be a commercial. That's 1-to-1 with the original.
It's so good.
So freaking good. And I have that, and I also have 2 of the 500 series.
Oh, nice.
Because, 3As are so versatile on so many things.
Yes.
That, 2 sometimes isn't enough. So you have 4.
There's never enough of anything.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How about you?
I really like, in the plug-in world, I like the Universal Audio 1176 AE, the 2-to-1.
Yeah.
I really like that, and a LA3A kind of thing. Same thing with the hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have this one?
I don't yet.
Chris, we need to make him order one.
Oh,
Get
another
your credit
one.
card.
The UA176 compressor.
Oh, I've never used that. Never used
Man,
it.
that's a ton.
I mean, I've used it on vocals and only vocals. I don't think I've ever used one of those on any.
Dobro, acoustic, piano. That's a go-to plug-in compressor for me.
Very cool. I'd like to hear it.
Settings though.
Okay, 1176 is going to be generally faster release, and that I'm probably going to start in that that mid like 7. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the standard vocal setting, honestly. Unless it's like a Telecaster, real aggressive percussion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can speed it up or need to speed it up a little bit. But 4-to-1, I'm never going to get very aggressive with them because most of the time electric guitars are, I mean, we've all heard this before. The speaker compression, the distortion pedal settings, there's already a natural form of compression. So when you do use compression on it, it's only so much for dynamic control and
Mostly for vibe and texture.
Yeah, exactly. And both of those boxes, a 76 and a 3A have, they push a guitar where the guitar is needing to poke anyway, by nature.
100% agree. Let's do a Nashville-specific one.
Nashville-specific, okay.
How many of you all work on country music? Is anyone here? Okay. Well, we got a couple that can relate. Dobro.
Okay. On a tracking day, none.
Agreed.
Yeah, the players, they want to hear their dynamic range. They want to hear what they're playing.
Because they're so dynamic and they're so in tune with how to push and pull.
Yeah.
But then in the mix, you gotta...
On a mix, I have 2 things in my template that I can think of, and that's the SSL channel strip. I mean, it's such a versatile tool.
4K-ish. The 4K thing?
The 4K or 9K, but generally 4K because I don't want the top end to be, like full. I like that top end.
4K has like a roll.
Yeah, and I like that on a Dobro. And then I also like. Do you remember the Waves R comp?
That was my first plug-in compressor.
It's still good. That's vintage digital.
I might have. It's got that vintage digital character.
Yeah.
I might have had some old Mick DSP stuff.
Yes, I love
the green
DSP
stuff.
They are so They don't get the attention they deserve. They really don't. They got to have a great bundle.
That was definitely my first plugins. But yes, R-Comp was an early staple for sure.
Yeah, I believe that's what I have in my template.
Okay, that's
amazing. If you want to wait, I can be back tomorrow about the same time, and I can open it up and tell you.
Are you ever busting it out to hardware when you're mixing?
On the Dobro, almost never.
Okay.
Almost never anymore.
Okay.
But now, if plans go, I've kind of got plans to purchase a console and do a lot more pure analog.
Are you going to sell your computer and buy a tape machine?
No tape machine.
Okay.
But
not that far.
I am jonesing for a console really bad.
Okay.
So that said, there's a really good chance that a Dobro could be moved to the hardware realm later this year.
What do you think you would do?
I'm thinking.
I don't know why I'm spending so much time on Dobro. This is so unrelatable.
Like the worst. I would probably start with one of my SSL channel strips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because the console, did anybody see the new Evo? Come on, man! I want that thing so bad. It's just $75,000. Surely you guys, we can take up an offering.
Can we start a GoFundMe for Joe to get an SSL?
Yeah, exactly. And my children are starving because I overspent on gear. Oh, that's funny. How about you?
If I'm going to hardware, it's going to be 1176.
Yeah.
Works pretty fast release, medium attack.
Works for everything.
Because also, like in Dobro, you want to get the pick. A lot of times, if it's an actual traditional Dobro-y thing, you want like the pick attack thing to kind of, I like that.
Yeah.
But also, I want to bring up the tails of stuff a little bit. So, yeah.
Dude, does anyone want to call out an instrument?
Yeah.
A 260.
260 would be good.
The 260 is one of those things that it's another thing that kind of just works on everything. It really can. It really can. And they sound good doing it. Just enough tone.
Yep.
Just enough of an analog footprint that's like, okay, it sounds better coming out of the box than it did going into the box.
Yes.
And Chris would have to tell me why, because I don't even know what all is there a transformer in the 260? Okay, gotcha.
It's also an interesting box where like 2 dB on the meter is enough for just about everything, I feel like. As to where other compressors, like I might slam something way harder, at least on the meter.
Yeah.
A little bit goes a long ways on a 260.
Yeah, it works because they can. It depends on the instrument itself and the shape of its transient, but it can create a pop.
Yes.
You know, so
does anyone want to call out one more instrument?
Acoustic guitar. That's fun. Okay, so do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. Give me a subgenre of acoustic. Are we talking soft finger picking? Are we talking aggressive strumming? Is it blended in a rock song? Is it a folky singer-songwritery thing? In like a rock song kind of thing? Yeah. To me, that is all about, it depends on what's going on with the electric guitars. To me, it's like, do I want the fullness of the acoustic to blend with the electric guitars, or do I want the front end, like the pick? Do I want to enhance the pick attack, or do I want to enhance the body, or sometimes both? Do I want to just smash the dynamic range so that way I can have both pick attack and body at the same time? But generally speaking, it's some sort of 1170-60 kind of thing, like almost always. LA2A things are a little too slow for me on acoustic.
It really depends if you need it to just kind of be a block, a stationary line. Yeah. But they can work.
They can.
They really can.
Especially for like, let me give you examples of like multiple things. A soft finger picking something or other would be more LA2A kind of thing, or ASA 6A. And the more aggressive we go, and the more I want to turn it into that block, the more I shift towards 1176, and then the next step would be like a distressory kind of thing, and then just keep going in that direction. And also the attack, usually like a medium-ish attack, but the more I go in that aggressive direction, the faster the attack gets, for me, personally.
Okay, cool. That's just good stuff. An acoustic guitar for me is usually going to be 2 stages. So on most songs, I'm going to have a parallel. That's an 1176. So it's just going to be on doing its thing, right? So I'm getting the a parallel thing that I can bring up that's fairly heavily compressed. So it's bringing down my crest factor, but it hasn't really changed the vibe of the guitar at all yet. It's just making the crest factor smaller. On the direct insert of the channel, my first choice, and the way my brain works, I go from from less control to more control down on my inserts, if that makes sense. The very first one that I would call less control is the 33609, and I just
that's a good choice.
Yes, it just works for acoustic instruments. I don't know why. It still sounds like that instrument though. It doesn't. It's one of those things, if you use it properly, I mean, they're grabby enough you can use it in a way that it really affects the sound. But if you put it in a sweet spot where you're getting, like, let's say 3 dB is where the VU is telling you you're at, it locks it in the track a little bit, but it still sounds very much like acoustic guitar. You were using the word transient. The transient and the vibe, the percussive nature is still there, right?
Do you ever, not to cut you off, do you ever use the limiter in conjunction with the compressor?
Yes. When it's some like most studio players, I don't need to.
Agreed.
But sometimes when it's live players, and they're playing a lot more aggressive, and it's like here's the transient and here's the body. You have to do what you have to do.
I've done that on my tube tech as well. Is using on the LCA 2B, using the limiter with the compressor for that exactly.
Right. But my first step would be just the compressor on the 33609. Probably my next step would be an LA3A kind of thing. It's going to lock it in a little more. And my like, hey, I got to stunt the growth here. Like we are locking this guy into a place, but I still want it to be fast enough that I'm getting the rhythm part of it, which the LA2A would kind of take away. Would be an 1176 or a distressor. Both of those are capable of being fast enough on the attack, fast enough on the release to say, like, here's the groove, and the guitar just kind of stays there, especially when you're combining that with the parallel. That makes sense.
So are you doing all of those on the parallel, or all those last few?
No, the last
right
few are right on it, and the parallel is almost 80% of the time going to be a part of it. And every once in a while you got this singer-songwriter thing that it's like the parallel's too much, but literally almost maybe as much as 90% of the time that parallel is there. Yeah.
And I think I know this is a mixing compression settings discussion, but I feel like with acoustic guitar specifically, it's one of those instruments that if you have the ability to re-record it, if you're producing it, really try to get that vibe right at the microphone.
Yeah.
Because taking something that is ultra dynamic and someone whose strumming is like way too dynamic and then trying to turn it into a block that lives behind heavy guitars, that's never gonna, it doesn't matter what settings you use or what compressor you use, that's never the way to do it. So I know we're not talking tracking here, but I think that's a really important one.
That is a struggle. I mean, I bet you everyone out there has this experience that you're trying to mix a track where the acoustic guitar is played extremely percussive, and it's like I can't. I mean, we have to make it the best we can. Of course, that's our job. But it's like we're never happy. It's just so transient rich, and
so spiky and pokey.
It's so spiky and percussive. It's starting to mess with the snare drum and the hi-hat, and it is what it is. But yeah, no, you're right. The great studio players, you'd be surprised when you watch the great Nashville studio players, because most of the electric players can play acoustic, and the acoustic players can play electric, of course. But like they become specialists. So like this guy, he's like hired. He's going to do acoustic guitar, mandolin, banjo, like anything with strings. What's the other one? Bouzouki. That's common. So, and the electric players, even though they can play that too, they're going to bring only electrics, and everyone kind of stays in their lane as a specialist. But when you watch the acoustic players that are doing the Nashville thing all day, every day, it's like literally I could show you. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I'm not exaggerating.
They find the spot on the microphone, and then they do not move.
But that looks boring. You're like, really? But it doesn't mean that it's not conveying energy
or emotion.
They know their dynamic range, and they live in there. They live in what that song needs. I'm not saying they never drive it harder, but so often it's like, wow, it's like a machine,
Push the fader up, and we're like, oh.
Yeah, literally.
Look at that.
That's why I can do just maybe 3 dB of compression on that one tool, and it's fine,
Someone want to throw one more instrument out?
Yeah. A banjo. That's a good one.
Doesn't matter. It's never in tune. You just push the fader up, blend it in there somewhere, and it is what it is.
Waves years ago came out with one called the it's R-Ax.
Oh, that was a good one.
What it's called?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate banjo compressor. I don't know why. There's no hardware box that does exactly what it does, and so when I'm tracking, I'll never compress it. Just let it live, be what it needs to be, and then in the mix, that and combined with the parallel, that same parallel I have on acoustic, the banjo will go there too, because they can be really spiky,
I end up doing a ton of saturation on banjo. Banjo is like tons of tape and tube saturation, run it out through some tube box and smash it, more with saturation than with compression. Is one of the things that I end up doing.
That's a good question.
That is.
And a banjo is spelled B-A-N-J-O-E. It's a little joke. I have one of the instruments, or one of the musicians I work with, probably like 40% of the time that I have an acoustic player on a tracking session, it seems to be like this guy's the guy that gets the call, and his name is Joel. So on his fader, on his More Me box, it's Banjoel. Every time it's like, just as an honor to him, Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's do some meat and potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you could. Absolutely.
Transient designers are a fun tool. They really are.
Do you find that the difference between a plug-in transient designer and a hardware is fairly extreme?
I will tell you that Elysia.
Yep.
Everyone familiar with Elysia? Some pretty high-end non-normal stuff. I mean, they make some, you know, an EQ and a compressor, don't get me wrong, but they make a lot of stuff that's like, wow, you know, I didn't think of that. Well, the guy from Elysia is the guy who invented the SPL transient designer. You know, he's the inventor. So in his own product line, you remember we could boost the attack or reduce the attack, or we could boost or reduce the sustain. He's put, with each of those, he's added a frequency center.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? So they sent me a demo rack 2 months ago, or a month ago, I don't remember. And you know, me and my assistants were mixing analog on that console. And we're like, let's patch those in on a kick and snare just to see. And same with acoustic guitars. The thing that finding, you say, oh, that's where that acoustic guitar that's too percussive, that's where it's too percussive. And just turn, I mean, it's different than a compressor, but it achieves the result. It achieves the result in a different way that may be better. You know,
on the
what I
right
mean?
things, it might be better. Yeah.
It's so to answer your question, that box knocked me out. And I know there's a plug-in version of it, and I've not compared them, but that box beat the hard software.
Okay, yeah.
You know, that I'd ever used previously, at least. It sounded amazing.
For whatever reason, I've never been a huge fan of the plug-in transient designers, but I got the SPL Channel 1 Mark III that has the transient designer in it, and I was like, what it does to snare and acoustic and even a vocal, it's so good.
SPL makes some killer boxes.
They make
the Iron. Yeah, it's on my wish list to actually own the hardware someday, because the plug-in is like, if the plug-in is that good, like I have to hear.
I just got the Venos, the new one.
Oh, nice.
You have to come over and check it out.
I would love to.
Okay, let's get on to some saucy stuff. Should we go to vocals?
Yes.
Compression on vocals.
Man,
everyone here does vocals, right? Like, we've been talking about banjo and dobro.
Yeah,
but everybody does vocals.
Yeah, and then people starting to leave. It's like, this is going nowhere. This is going downhill fast.
What are these Nashville idiots talking about?
You know, if I could only have one box for the rest of my life, it would be 2 boxes. All right, let me tell you why. So, in fact, I have these in the Audioscape family. The Rev D, the black, it does one thing, and the blue stripe does a different thing. And there's so much the same, but there's this much difference in the tone, and so like I want to be able to choose between those two. If I could just have one, it'd probably be the Rev D, you know, or Vintage or whatever brand, you know, that has a Rev D. But if I could just have one, it's going to be the Rev D.
Settings
4-to-1.
Yep.
7 is my starting point. I'll go slower on attack.
Yep.
7 will be my starting point. If it needs more punch, of course, slow it down to the max. Because even slow it down to the max is not slow.
No, they're fast.
It's still fast. Or about, what would that be? That'd be like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Pretty much is going to be in that range, depending on the punchiness of the song, or the phrasing, the tempo of the song,
or maybe how spitty the vocalist is.
Exactly. Yeah. Then the release is going to be as fast as possible, or at the 2 o'clock setting, somewhere in between there, every time.
Okay. Fast as possible. Can we spend a minute on that?
Yes.
What is your? I mean, I have obviously a million thoughts on that as well. What is your philosophy behind choosing the release on a vocal?
Okay. For me, the 1176 adds distortion at its fastest release. So if I need aggression, if it's a heavy rock song or something like that, I'll use the fastest setting to get that little bit of buzz distortion thing that it does. The same thing on bass. It works very well on bass guitar too. And then everything else is going to be slowed down just a little bit to avoid that distortion.
So your decision between very fastest and just off of fastest is about saturation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's honestly not about tempo and phrasing, because they're not all that different in the way it feels in the track when you go from here to here.
Agreed.
But the distortion caliber is, and maybe more so on the blue stripe. Yeah, at least in theirs. I don't own an original blue stripe because what are they?
Because they cost $30,000.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to use some. Our tracking room is right next door to Blackbird, and they've got everything. They've got everything. It's insane. But that's the only place I've ever used a real Blue Strat.
I've rented one a bunch of times from them.
From Blackbird?
Yeah.
Probably the same one I've used then.
Probably.
Yeah.
So fastest, just off of fastest to control distortion saturation. From there, what's your decision train to slowing it down?
If the track needs to punch less and kind of set back more,
Yes.
and then just slow it down just a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, to about 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I don't usually, if I'm going to go slower than 2 o'clock, I'm going to go away from an 1176. And
I agree.
Move
to a 3A or a 2A.
3A, 2A. I love the B comp, which is so the gate stay level. Think of it as a gate stay level, but honestly, again, I love having a stay level, but it really just does one thing. I mean, it just really does. So the V comp, adds adjustable attack and release, but I still get that exact same tone. And so the V comp, is right there with me. I don't know why the V comp works for me so well, but I feel like even though I have a wide range of attack and release settings, I feel like I can turn the knobs like within just 20 seconds and it's done. For whatever reason, like I just vibe with it. You know what I mean?
Love it.
I don't know why.
That's great.
I don't know why, but
the sound that's in your head, it just gets it out the speakers for you.
Yeah. With just barely turning the knobs a little bit, it's like, yep, that's it. And it's always on double mode generally on the vocal, on the single, double, triple.
Yep.
Double.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How about you?
I am, depends on the vibe of the song, I am obsessed with this ASA 6A.
That's the other one. I didn't say it because I knew you were going to. I was going to give you your glory.
When it comes to like any sort of folk, indie, organic, all the way up to more raw hard rock, the less like polished, crispy metal stuff, not quite that far, but anything just more organic of that, putting it through that, and then just input so it gets saturated how I like it. Medium attack, fastest release.
Yeah.
I mean, it's glorious.
There's a reason I didn't say it because I knew you were going to.
For anything on that aggressive organic side, for me, that's it.
To me, when I pass a vocal through the 6A, because I have one too, the word I would use is expensive.
Yeah.
It's kind of glamorous.
The saturation
rich
character is very classy.
Yeah. It definitely alters the tone. But that's what we're looking. If you're going to use a box like that, that's what you want.
What's the point in dealing with all the hardships of hardware? Because it's more complicated, more expensive, less instances. There's a lot of downsides to hardware, but the tone is why I'm using it. So if it doesn't do a thing, then what's the point?
Yeah.
1176 always, to me, set the release settings. On the 6A, it's fastest release all the time. On 1176, I use the release to pull the vocal forward or push it back. So the more close I want the vocal, the more I want it to stick out of the speakers and poke me in the nose, the faster the release. The more subtle I want it, the further back I want it, the slower the release. And never below noon on 1176, but the slower the release. And so a lot of times a lead vocal will be fastest release, or like you said with the saturation, just off, fastest release. And then a background vocal will be slower release to push it and tuck it behind the lead vocal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's something that I think, I don't know if it gets taught enough. When I watch YouTube videos from people, it's like they copy and paste the settings from the lead vocal over to the doubles and the harmonies and everything. It's like always the same. And that's a tool. Right, because everything is moving exactly together, but sometimes that's not what we want. Right, sometimes we want that lead vocal to separate from the harmony singers. We don't want to bury him in it. We want something to separate him from the other guys. And so, like slowing down the attack on the 1176, on the other, or switching to a 3A or a 2A.
Attack or release? Slowing down the attack or release?
I would slow down the release.
Yes, okay.
On the background vocal.
Yes.
I'm probably gonna, if I'm gonna do anything with attack, it may be faster.
Yeah, exactly. Catch more of the transient.
Exactly. So the lead vocal is allowed to pop a little bit more. So even though they may be, so if I'm gonna use the same tool, an 1176. Let's just say 1176 is on the lead, and I've got these 2 harmony singers too. If I am going to copy an 1176 over, I will adjust the attack a little faster, and the release maybe a little slower, and then that puts him behind the lead by nature a little bit. But you can turn it up more. So if the producer is saying the harmony is really important to the vibe of this song, like it needs to sound like it's not a lead and harmonies, it's like lead and harmonies. You know what I mean? That'll allow you to turn them up hotter, but the lead still seems to pop because there's a just that much more dynamic range popping through the compressor, if that makes sense. It's a very, very powerful tool.
How are we getting too nerdy for you guys? Is this too nerdy?
Are we going too fast?
Is he telling us to be quiet?
Oh, we're done with time?
Oh, we're done.
Oh, okay.
Can we slam out Mix Bus real quick? Can we have 2 minutes? Okay. Mix Bus. Compression.
Mix Bus? I'm an SSL Bus compressor guy.
Yep.
On about 80% of the songs. I love the manly barium mute.
Yep.
On certain like jazz and organic things, but 80% of what I do, if not more, is SSL Bus compressor.
Yeah.
Which they have a version of it. And my attack is going to be 30 or 10, almost never faster. And my release is going to be either auto or as fast as possible.
Agreed.
And I'm almost never in between.
Yep.
Ratio? 2 to 1. I'm very soft. Very soft.
I'm same thing. Usually SSL. Usually SSL flavor of whatever kind. 1.5 to 1 or 2 to 1. 15 to 30 on the attack, depends on how much I want to clamp the transient.
You say 15, so that means you have a Bus Plus.
I do have a Bus Plus.
That's a setting that doesn't exist on the original.
And then same fastest release, and then sometimes blend down as well. I just got the SPL Venos, which is a crazy bus, but so I'm still working on that, but on the settings for that. We took a lot of time,
but it didn't seem like it.
It didn't seem like it. I'm not going to speak for Joe, but if you guys have questions, I'm going to be hanging out here. Love to talk to you guys. If you have questions, we were going to take questions, but we are out of time. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody that hung out. I know.
Yes, thank you guys.
We had Sylvia Massey, like a powerhouse right next door.
I know.
I'm honored that anybody would be here instead of over there.
100%. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you guys.